You go for 2 days out in the open ocean, and then you see the beginning of the Shetland Islands, and that's Antarctica, and it's pretty exciting. As you approach, you begin to see ice in the water. You can see icebergs off in the distance, and then you see the islands themselves. The first impression is remarkable in that it's like a different world, because there's ice everywhere, and there's water everywhere, and there's mountains, and you can see the dark rock of the mountains. The light is kind of ethereal. It's just a foreign landscape. It's like you're on a different planet. As a biologist, you get really interested in the wildlife. There's whales everywhere, just an abundance of wildlife. It's actually remarkable. This is the way the world used to be. That's very exciting, but then after a while, you just kind of get drawn into the ice and the water and the snow and the glaciers. It's a really compelling landscape. Antarctica is a really interesting place. It is kind of the best place to study climate change, and so many scientists who work on climate change study Antarctica. The Antarctic is a great place to send up balloons, as is done in our physics department, and begin to measure cosmic rays. It's also a place where there's an active volcano. Work that's been done by Doug Wiens and his group, one of them is our McDonnell scholar, Shawn, and Shawn is involved in setting up some of the seismic stations in order to determine how the waves go through the land mass, and that allows them to figure out a bit about the past history and the movement of the tectonics. Every year there's a whole series of tours that are offered to alumni and friends. The folks that were on the trip were all interested in the natural environment, in conservation, in issues such as climate change, and so it was just a terrific group of people to interact with. It was one of the highlights of the trip. The other thing that was a surprise to me was the thickness of the ice on the continent. It contains 70% of the world's fresh water. If that were all to melt, the sea level rise would be really substantial. So what happens in the Antarctic has an effect all over the globe, and I had not quite appreciated that either. The other thing I didn't appreciate is you have to wear red so they can find you.
Yeah, no white clothing.
No white clothing whatsoever, right?